Let's talk about what to expect from WWDC 2026. But first, way back in 2017, Roland carved out a little niche for itself with the introduction of the Go Mixer line. The small, portable audio interfaces are a convenient way to connect a mic and multiple musical instruments, or audio sources, to your phone for more professional public performances or on-the-go recording. At this year's NAMM show, the company unveiled the latest in the family, the Go Mixer Studio, and it's the most premium version to date. The Studio adds a display, multi-track output, and onboard effects along with a far more luxurious design. At $300, there's also a far more luxurious price tag. The Go Mixer Pro X was already a capable option, and competing products from Mackie and Zoom are also vying for your hard-earned musical dollars. The big question then is, can the Studio make a case for itself at this elevated price point? Roland's latest portable mixer for musicians is a step forward for those looking for a more premium option to bring with them on the go. The fact that it makes a good desktop interface expands its utility in a meaningful way that helps justify the $300 price tag. Check out James True's entire review of the Roland Go Mixer Studio right now at Engadget.com. WWDC 2026, the latest version of Apple's yearly developer conference, runs from June 8th through the 12th, and by all appearances, the company has some important updates to outline. In comparison to liquid glass, the design material Apple introduced last year and now uses across all its operating systems, the new features the company is rumored to announce might not be aesthetic, but they could make just as big of a splash, namely because Apple might finally be ready to show off its second stab at an overhauled version of Siri. If you're curious to see the company's new plans for yourself, you can watch Apple's WWDC 2026 keynote live on its website, YouTube channel, or the Apple developer Bilibili channel in China. Apple will also host its platform State of the Union stream and individual developer workshops on its developer website if you want to learn even more details about the software updates the company will release later this year. Luckily, we do have some sense of what Apple has in store, and it looks like stability improvements and AI are the company's big focuses for the updates coming to iOS, iPadOS, macOS, watchOS, visionOS, and tvOS this fall. Apple released macOS 10 Snow Leopard in 2009, primarily as a way to clean up the performance and refine the new features the company released with macOS 10 Leopard 2 years prior. The decision to essentially take a year off to focus on making everything about the company's desktop operating system feel better was well received, and Apple is apparently planning to have iOS 27 serve a similar role. Bloomberg reports that Apple's upcoming update will be focused on improving the software's quality and underlying performance, and that the company's engineering teams are now combing through Apple's operating systems, hunting for bloat to cut, bugs to eliminate, and any opportunity to meaningfully boost performance and overall quality. Those fixes will presumably extend to the company's other operating systems too. Some of this effort may also be focused on cleaning up the visual changes introduced in Apple's big switch to liquid glass. The design overhaul has been controversial among the company's diehard fans, and Apple has already introduced tweaks and updates that arrived after the release of iOS 26 to make liquid glass interfaces more legible. Bloomberg reports the company could go a step further in its next updates and add a system-wide slider that will allow users to adjust the intensity of liquid glass, visual effects like translucency and reflectivity they want in the interface. While stability and performance improvements will be a major focus of this year's updates, Apple is also rumored to be making some major changes to Siri. When the company first introduced Apple Intelligence at WWDC 2024, it promised to launch an updated version of the voice assistant that could use your personal context, like the information securely stored on your iPhone, to act across apps. Apple delayed those features in March 2025 and then announced a partnership with Google in January 2026 to use Gemini models to presumably make them possible. Those features might finally arrive in this year's updates, but Apple is reportedly also changing how users interact with Siri by making the assistant more like a chatbot, according to Bloomberg. This would make the assistant more interactive and natural to speak to, and could open up other possibilities, like letting users direct Siri to perform two actions at the same time. Developers will reportedly also be able to integrate their own AI assistants with Siri, much like OpenAI has with ChatGPT. The chatbot version of Siri will be accessible in the usual ways, but also reportedly through a standalone Siri app. The new app will let users prompt the assistant to take care of tasks on their device, search the web, and even access news, not unlike current Gemini and ChatGPT apps. Bloomberg writes that the app will also be a way to review past conversations with Siri and receive suggestions of prompts to try with the new chatbot version of the assistant. Users will also be able to interact with Siri inside Apple's other apps via a new feature called Ask Siri. This may appear as an option in app menus and allow you to ask the AI assistant questions about content in the app. It's not clear if this will be as in-depth or capable as Google's Ask Maps or Ask Photos features, but it at least seems like Apple's thinking along the same lines as its partner. Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. Today's show featured journalism by Gadget contributor Ian Carlos Campbell and was produced by Spoken Layer. I'm Imran Sheikh, and we'll talk more tomorrow.
Spoken Layer.